the high veld of southern Africa, there is a silence that carries weight. It is the weight of 1,000,000 granite bricks, shaped not by nature, but by the calculated ambition of a lost empire. This is Zimbabwe, Great Zimbabwe, the House of Stone. Imagine the year 1350. The air here is thick with the scent of wood smoke and the lowing of cattle, the prestige of the Shona people. As you walk the narrow passageways, the heat of the African sun radiates off the granite, a dry, baking warmth that persists long after dusk. There is no mortar here, no lime, no cement. This is architecture in its most absolutist form. Absolute, finished, and perfectly self-reliant. Absolute, finished, and perfectly self-reliant. These walls were not built to keep enemies out. They were built to keep the sacred in. A testament to a kingdom that spoke in stone while the world beyond these borders was convinced Africa was a silent continent. To understand this city, we must look up to the hill complex. This is the locus sanctus, the holy place. It sits atop a 100-meter-high granite kopje, a natural fortress where the king, the Mwene Mutapa, looked down upon his world. The engineering was a marvel of local ingenium, innate talent, and invention. The Shona masons utilized a technique known as fire scaling. They would light massive fires against the granite cliffs until the rock glowed with internal heat, then douse it with water. The thermal shock caused the stone to fracture into thin, even slabs. Look closely at the joins. The precision is staggering. The walls do not follow straight lines. They flow with the organic curves of the landscape, mimicking the undulating hills. They possess a structural integrity that has defied gravity for 7 centuries. It is a dialogue between the mountain and the mason, where the rock was not conquered, but invited to stand. It is a dialogue between the mountain and the mason, where the rock was not conquered, but invited to stand. It is a dialogue between the mountain and the mason, where the rock was not conquered, but invited to stand. Below the hill lies the Great Enclosure, the largest ancient structure in sub-Saharan Africa. Its outer wall stretches over 250 meters. Inside, the air is cooler, trapped by the massive thermal mass of the stone. Deep within the shadows stands the Conical Tower. It is a solid mass of masonry, 18 feet in diameter, 30 feet tall. It has no doors, no windows, and no hollow center. It is a sigillum, a seal of power. Was it a grain silo, symbolizing the king's role as the provider? Or was it a phallic symbol of fertility and royal lineage? As you stand in the parallel passage, the sky is reduced to a thin ribbon of blue above. The noise of the city, the shouting of traders, the clatter of ironmongers, the rhythmic grinding of grain would have been muffled here, replaced by a heavy, reverent stillness reserved for the elite. Replaced by a heavy, reverent stillness reserved for the elite. Replaced by a heavy, reverent stillness reserved for the elite. For centuries, European explorers suffered from a profound ignorantia, a willful state of not knowing. They looked at these walls and saw the work of Phoenicians or the biblical gold mines of King Solomon. They were wrong. Archaeology has exhumed the truth. Great Zimbabwe was not an isolated fortress, it was a medieval superpower. It was the pulsing heart of a trade network that stretched to the shores of the Indian Ocean. In these markets, the scent of local cattle dung mixed with the exotic aromas of frankincense and myrrh. Gold from the rivers and ivory from the plains were bartered for Chinese celadon and Persian pottery. Among the most sacred finds are the 8 birds of soapstone. These are the intercessores, the intercessors between the living and the ancestors. Each bird, a unique fusion of human and avian features, stood as a sentinel, watching over a city of nearly 18,000 souls. Each bird, a unique fusion of human and avian features, stood as a sentinel, watching over a city of nearly 18,000 souls. By 1450, the fires began to dim. The kingdom had perhaps become a victim of its own magnificentia. 18,000 people require vast amounts of wood, water, and fertile soil. The environment was exhausted. The trade routes shifted north to the Zambezi River. Slowly, the people departed, leaving the granite to the elements. But the stones did not disappear. They became a symbol of resistance. During the era of colonial Rhodesia, the truth of this site was suppressed, censored by a government that feared the power of African history. But history is like the granite itself. It can be buried, but it cannot be destroyed. But history is like the granite itself. It can be buried, but it cannot be destroyed. Today, Great Zimbabwe stands as a silent, soaring rebuttal to every myth of African inferiority. It is more than a ruin, it is a monumentum, a reminder. It reminds us that history is not just written in books, it is carved in the earth. It is etched in the sweat of the mason and the vision of the architect. Under the African sun, the House of Stone remains eternal, unmoving, and finally understood. Under the African sun, the House of Stone remains eternal, unmoving, and finally understood.